Hey everybody, how you doing? Hope everybody is doing well. And this is another cast, if you can see it. If you can see this on YouTube or not simultaneously, I'm doing this by StreamYard, but I don't know if it comes up simultaneously on YouTube or not because I haven't checked to see if that's how this thing actually rolls, right? I am on my channel. Um, and I've got this up here. Normally I would see my stream here, right? But it doesn't say that I'm live, even though I'm live here on StreamMate. So it's really interesting. I If I edit, it's public, and it says the broadcast is already live, but it's live here on StreamMate, right? Um, and this is really a fascinating system and device. I wonder what the delay is between StreamYard and YouTube, or if it's supposed to be, seen or anything else like that. At any rate, hey, how's everybody doing? Uh, I believe this is going to go to YouTube. Is that how it goes? I click on this. It says you're live. Oh, view on YouTube. Okay, so I'm viewing it on YouTube. It says you're about to view a broadcast on YouTube. So the broadcast is on YouTube. I'm here, and I'm about to share it on Facebook and other places. Learning this as I go, taking the plunge, as it were, right? Fun stuff, and moving forward with the appropriate aplomb, as I am want to say. Yeah. I hope everybody is enjoying their shelter in place and and coping with the uh, incongruities of it all. I think that's the appropriate way to say, isn't it? The appropriate word for it is the incongruities of it all, because it all seems so crooked. But as long as you're healthy and remembering to, yes, use your mask when you go outside, I think everybody's going to be okay. Now, let me direct you all as you come into what you're seeing here, um, and that is Allegiant Stadium. And this is where it says too many requests, right? This is the Wayback Machine. Now, remember the last time we talked about this, the Wayback Machine allowed a backdoor, okay, to see the webcam for Allegiant Stadium. Why? Hey, John Akala, how you doing? Why? Because when we go to, we would normally go to the page for the, excuse me, excuse me, when we go to share a screen, right? Like this, if I select the window, and then I would go to the standard Allegiant Stadium live cam, this is what we got. Voila. Okay, that's excuse me, that's the same one. That's not the one I intended to show you. That's an error on my part. It's this one. So if I click on share screen, let's try that again, and I get the option. And as I was saying, if I show you the appropriate page, this one, allow, okay? This says too many requests, okay? And this was from the live stream that was once accessible via the Wayback Machine. Now, let me make a small change here and show you something that was done earlier. Raiders.com. Yeah, here we go. Don't allow, and then this. Okay, now that was the backdoor in the past for this, okay? And all I have to do is if I go here and once again get the proper screen, hey, good evening, Lord Doves, how are you doing? And I get this Las Vegas Raiders webcam from or page, excuse me, that comes from the site. This one, allow. All right. If you take a look at this one, this is from today. This is from the Raiders website today. The website, right? Now, if you go mobile like we did before to see it, what you'll find on the mobile version is that it's kind of visible, right? Like that. It says launch web webcam. You hit it, and then it takes you to this, okay, live. But it's and that live broadcast. You would think, is this the only way that I can get a live stream broadcast? And the answer is, well, take a look. All right, the answer is here. Or as I'm fond of saying, the answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind, or in this case, the blowing in the web wind. And here is the answer, right there. Voila! This is not the web mobile version. This is what this comes from. Okay. So ask yourself this question. Why couldn't they simply have attached the link from this to that unless they didn't want you to see it? And then not only that, why did they go through the trouble of having the Wayback Machine people block access to the cam? Something that really technically, well, it should have happened, but when I went to see it this time, there was a big X. And then when I went to call it up, it said that I had called the URL too many times, which is wild. I only called it twice. So someone has been going about the work of trying to block my access because apparently I'm the only person that discovered that there was a back door. Folks, here is the link to the webcam from EarthCam. Okay, it's right here. I'm putting it right here. LINK : boom. Right there. Okay, there it is. You would say, why would someone go through this trouble? What is it that they're trying to do? Why are they trying to go through all this trouble? What is it that they're trying to hide? And my response would be, you know what? Good question. But it's quite obvious that they don't want you to easily see what's going on there. I wish Barry Lee were here. Maybe he could tweet this out, or maybe one of you watching could tweet this out or share it. But this is a major indicator that there's somebody behind this that wants this thing built and wants this thing built, even though workers could die from this, even though they could be infected. Because, and I want to announce, by the way, that on this Friday at 3 o'clock Pacific, which is 6 o'clock Eastern, University of San Francisco professor Dan Rasher will be my guest on the show, and we're going to talk about sports economics in the pandemic, how the pro leagues and college sports will survive and how they might come out of this. That's a very shorthand for what we're going to talk about. But there are people who throw out conflicting ideas. Let's take you see that? See that? Look at this. Look at this. Look, pay attention. Look at what's going on there. Look at that. You see how it goes up close? See, the camera does that. It goes up close. All right. And I think the reason why they were trying to shut off from view to many people is because it has a tendency to zoom and go, I'm speculating, back and forth like this. You see how this is see how it's going? Okay. Back and forth. And occasionally when it does that, you can see that there are workers on the job at night. And you might even see that, just like Saturday or other instances, they were not, or maybe not, following the proper social distancing protocols, right? So, my point is, why go through all of this if the word is out that the Raiders are trying to find an alternative place to play football in the fall? If this is going to be ready, because the song is, this is always on time, right? We're going to make it, yada, yada, yada. The truth of the matter is that the cable net roof was supposed to be finished last August of 2019, like August 31st. It wasn't. It's just finished. Well, still not finished, really. The cable net is in place, yes, but the roof isn't finished. And with the way it's going right now, it will not reach completion until May, which was what the latest forecast was after all said and done. In fact, the whistleblower, Las Vegas whistleblower workers that got involved in telling me about the problems of the stadium said that it would not be finished until May. So they're right. But finished until May and having a production, having the money to produce something to have happen in that facility are two different things, because the pandemic has severely retarded the possibility of anything happening there. And here's the bigger problem, folks, okay? The bigger problem is this. Our current federal government doesn't understand the magnitude of the subsidies that were going to be involved to get America back to the footing that it was on even a month ago, 2 months ago. More appropriately, late last year, before all of this gradually began to start. I wrote a paper, and I wrote a piece that I'm going to share with you. I'm not going to share it with you now because I want to keep an eye on this dealie. But I will tell you that I calculated the total economic subsidy, the stimulus package, should be just south of $10 trillion, excuse me. That would be, what goes like this. You take the total number of households in the United States last year, 128 million, times their average revenue, which is just north of 89 million. That's going to give you just over $5.7 trillion. That amount it's going to give you over, not $5.7 trillion, it's going to give you over $11 trillion. But then you cut it in half to about just over $5 trillion. Why? Because by the time the program is ready and goes through congressional approval, it'll be June, if it's done. And then we would pay monthly installments from June, starting in June, all the way to the end of the year. Basically, we would take the half of that $11 trillion, because we assume that they have received some or most of that money from January as a whole, okay, through May. And I know May has gone down and people went into trouble, but it kind of went like that, all right? And then we say, we will take that $44,000, north of $44,000. See how that moved? $44,000. Divide it into 6, which is the months remaining, and give that to each household. That comes out to about just north of $7,000 per household. There are 2.63 persons per household, something like that. So theoretically, almost every man, woman, and child in the United States will be covered. Now, having said that, we have 35 million small businesses. We take the average revenue from that, multiplied times the 35 million, that gives us over 1.1 trillion for our small business stimulus. Then for our large business and government stimulus, we add $3 trillion and use it as a kind of a grant. Why do this? Because right now we're nickel and diming. We're saying, wow, we have 250 billion for small businesses here. We have 2 trillion total. 2 trillion. Hey, Raider Lou, how you doing? $2 trillion is not enough. $2 trillion in a 1 cent is not enough. They're going to have to do that by, if you take my model into account, they're going to have to do that another, basically 5 times. 10 trillion, okay? To even meet our requirements. Folks, the main problem is this. Our basic standard of living is at stake. Your ability to afford anything, your ability to have money set aside, your ability to spend bucks on a Coca-Cola or buy something for a friend of yours, maybe if they don't have any cash, or go out and have cocktails. All of that is threatened right now. The American standard of living, our very way of life, is under attack from within. And I say from within because the federal government doesn't get, and you can do the simple math to figure this out, that what is being doled out is not enough. And we don't wait. What they're doing is they're saying, well, let's put it out there and then wait. No, don't wait. Be proactive. What we need to do right now is we need to think of the United States economy as a car, an expensive one with a very powerful engine, but the wheels, the tires are slowly flattening. And so we have to, before the tires completely flatten, replace them. We have to prop them up until we get new ones. These are special tires, right? And the engine isn't working properly. So what we have to do is we have to come in and we have to prop everything up and then jump start, okay? And my point is that we have to jump start it and keep the dollar flows going. Now, Mohammed says, I worry, Z, that the value of the dollar will fall with any more stimulus. Majority of the American families are one paycheck from bankruptcy. I guess that time has come. Well, my point, though, is that if you give people, and I don't see the value of the dollar would not be hammered if you're actually fueling them the money that they need to sustain their income as it would have been last year until the end of the year, until we find a cure or vaccine, some combination of health events that gets us back to a better footing than we're on right now. Okay. From now through June till now, that's a lot of time. But think of it this way. If we have shelter in place remaining and we do that, do you realize that in many parts of the United States, our crime rate would drop to near zero levels? Because no one would have to worry about money. There wouldn't be the need to go anywhere because people would be saying stay in. So you can actually save money. The savings rate would go to levels like we've never seen before. So I question that, all right? I question that whole idea, like you're saying time to buy silver. In the current condition, yeah. But if we do the idea that I'm talking about, no. But I agree with you. My point is that we as a people should not let this go down. Because if we do, and if we head the way you're talking about, there's not going to be an NFL season. There's not going to be, these folks are working on this right now. They're going to run out of money eventually. The 46 events that, you see how the cameras, look at this, look closely. Look at how the cameras moving around. You can see who's at work, and you see that? You see that? Boop, boop, boop. See what's going on? You can see them at work. Boop, boop, boop. Pretty cool, huh? All right. So now I pull it back. I think it heard me talking. Oh my God, it's Zinni. All right. So, but that's the problem. The reason why I went into that explanation is because what I just told you about has everything to do with what we're looking at. And the meaning of the NFL draft, players, and talking about it's great right now. It's almost fantasy to talk about who's going to go where because, look, we don't know. And we need to know a time certain. We need to plan for that and make it happen when all this is coming back. The president has said September, but he hasn't put any money behind it. It's one thing to say, I want to be great, but it's something else to say, okay, here's what we do to be great, right? That's not happening. And the performance the president put on today was, I found, very disappointing. He's got to stop taking on the press and acting like he's unhinged. We need leadership. We need people like President Obama. He may not like President Trump, that reference, but that's not the way. Any other president would have handled this by saying, I'm going to get together all the past presidents. We're going to have all hands on deck, set out a plan, and we're going to go execute that plan as one. But that's not happening in our case. And all of you who are Raider fans should be extremely concerned because this means the future of our lives, including the organization. I mean, my question is whether or not Mark Davis can survive this. Why? Because he didn't come into this with the same kind of deep pockets that others did, and he hitched his wagon, his future, to the fortunes of people, casino managers and owners, who are now themselves scared to death and suffering. Yeah, that is freaky to say the least. That is sad and freaky to say the least. And I don't know if we'll come out of it or not anytime soon. I hope we do. But the bottom line is right now, we have a problem. And when I say we, I mean we have a problem. Let me see if just checking in here. Excuse me for a second. It's and today I didn't look at Twitter to see if anybody made a comment about what was happening there. Let me see, because I know that. Oh, by the way, the 2020 playing rules proposal summary is out, which I'll address tomorrow. Let me see here regarding any commentary about Las Vegas Stadium. We have this Las Vegas Stadium, and let's see here. Latest construction update, photo camera, spring training. Another issue, Las Vegas is helping fund this stadium to the tune of $700 million by taxing hotel usage. Nobody is traveling to Vegas anytime soon. No big conferences are happening anytime soon. Is WSOP even happening this year? I don't know what WSOP is, but probably not. There's and Open Table Sports reports the Raiders are preparing not to play in their new stadium in Las Vegas. They have backup plans already just in case the stadium isn't ready for the season, if there is one at all. Hashtag NFL. I don't know if they have backup plans already. They're forming them. And it's this fellow asks, how in the world did Allegiant Airlines? Oh, I'll deal with that later. Let's see here. And this one's coverage of possible stadium delays in Las Vegas papers, despite the obvious ignoring of health and safety workers or whether the NFL season should be delayed, ignores the $73 billion subsidy the state gave away. I don't know about that. Doesn't ignore it. And so based on hotel tax revenue projections that fell short in February before the Las Vegas Strip was shut down. Actually, that's wrong. And let me explain why that's wrong. That's wrong because, first of all, G. Taylor says, an airline's in deep trouble, Allegiant Air. I'll get to what that means in a second. Rich Grano says, World Series of Poker. Welcome, Rich. How you doing? The problem, folks, is that, and this is a dire one, okay? First of all, yeah, hotel stadium tax is threatened, but there is also a reserve of 56.9 million. Right now, that reserve has been cut into by, according to my calculations, about $4 million roughly. So we are, because of March, okay? So right now, we're looking at $52 million. And that reserve will take them through next year if nothing is done. Now, of course, that's not going to happen. It's going to, one prays, okay? I want people to realize is there should be no joy in this by any means, okay? There should be no joy in this. And the reason is this. We're all interconnected worldwide, okay? And what's happening here is if this thing doesn't work, it will mean that somebody, your friend or mine, is impacted indirectly by this. That's even why it's important to stop the construction because, look, there's an assumption that the iron workers and steel workers that work on this live in Las Vegas. A lot of them don't. They came to Las Vegas for the seasonal work. A number of them have went to California or Boston or Dallas, Texas, or other places, okay? Meaning, if they got COVID-19, guess what happened? They took it back home with them. Chances are, and there's some people that I know who know foremen on this project, okay? What if they happen to shake that person's hand at some point earlier in the year, maybe like a month ago, before this was really a thing, okay? Plus, that's a problem. So you're spreading it, and that person's spreading it to somebody else, and they don't necessarily have to have the symptoms of COVID-19, okay? They can simply be a carrier. That's why there was this screaming about, hey, look, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. It's not, oh, stop it because, the Raiders left Oakland. Because if this were in Oakland, I personally would say the same thing, but you can bet your bippies that the city of Oakland, the county of Alameda, and the state of California, particularly ran by Gavin Newsom, our governor, would not allow it. He would say, you know what? Sports is secondary. You need to stop it right now. It's not worth risking lives, especially if you're going to build an edifice that's supposed to have events like everything from concerts, right, to special shows, all of which are to be done by organizations which in some cases are right now flirting with bankruptcy. Just like that. Okay, this is not funny. This is us. This is America. This is us. Doesn't matter how you feel about the move or the relocation. That's not the point. This is the end of civilization as we know it. I am not kidding. People need to wake up. Like now, okay? Because implicit in the reactions of some of you are the idea this is going to be business as usual. It's not business as usual. How can it be business as usual when all of us are talking from a place we're shut in place, right? Come on. So we know it's not business as usual. And I'm sorry, I saw our president today, and I thought, what the heck is going? Did you see that? Did you see that performance? Let me shift gears for a second and show you that. That, my lord, was I still can't believe I saw our president of the United States behave that way. And yet our president of the United States did indeed behave that way. Okay. So let me show you what happened. This is troubling what I'm about to present to you. If you haven't seen it, you're about to, because this all ties in, you know, with what I'm talking about right now. Excuse me. And here is the event that I recorded and made commentary about earlier today, after our leader made his presentation. One moment, please. There it is. Yes. Okay.
Folks, the President of the United.
All right, there. And now I'm coming back to where I was with you. One moment, please. Here and there. Select screen. Should be YouTube. There it is. Allow. Voila. That's President Trump. I believe I can get that to move. Yes, there it is. There it is.
In this press conference live, I've only delayed this just to capture this, as
and
becoming unhinged. Well, you be the judge. Look.
I don't know if you can hear that or not. Let me see if I can get the volume. But the whole point is, he's saying to them, "You're fake news." He's yelling. Okay. Let me try to turn that up a bit. There it is.
Why did Biden apologize? Why did he write a letter of apology?
Look at this.
Why did the Democrats think that I acted too quickly? You know why? Because they really thought that I acted too quickly. We have done a great
This stuff
job.
is shocking.
I could have kept it up.
I mean, this is all about him in the middle of a pandemic. You have people that are going into a week where they may see their last paycheck, or it could be cut off very quickly. All right. You have kids at home. Maybe some of your kids are at home.
Hundreds of thousands of people that would right now be dead.
And I don't care about how you feel about the president. That's not the issue. The issue is, if you love your country, you demand better. I'm not going to play this the entire time. I just want you to see what I was talking about, okay? One moment.
But we're going to get into that in a minute. We're going to just finish this up. We're going to tell you about other things that we've done right. But I will say this: had we said, let's just keep going and let's not do it,
I'll go back to where I was here. Voila. And that's where we were, and I'll shut that down. Okay. So that's where we were. All right. So again, these folks are working hard. They want to get paid. This is all uncertain. And what is he doing? He's worrying about what the press are saying and everything else. Okay. Rolling Dubs right here. Jay DeMarc says, this is horrible. Yeah. Rolling Dubs says, I've watched every day. Today was by far the worst I've seen. Yeah. It's like he's just going off. And what's going to happen when this gets worse? Because at the way it's going and the way he's going, it's going to. What's he going to do? Get even more unhinged? Look, listen to me. Ugh, okay? It's got me going unhinged. Oh, brother. Whew. Okay, enough of that. You get what I'm saying. I'm not going to go on and on and on and be a broken record about it. You get what I'm saying. So, what you all should be doing, if you want to be at a point where we all can sit around and argue about this stuff, in other words, be alive, right? Because right now we're talking about our lives. You got to put some heat on this guy. You have to do so through your congressperson and senator and ask for a bigger subsidy now. Ask for a bigger stimulus now. Get it done now, not later. Don't wait. Get it all done now. Okay? Because this is our very standard of living. Otherwise, we'll be losing people and we won't be around we'll know someone who won't be around to argue about whether or not Vegas is better than Oakland or anything like that. Okay? So we have to get to a point where we focus on maintaining our standard of living. Because you can't maintain a standard of living and expect to have idle time to sit around and argue about stuff online. If you're doing that, you know what? Put that aside for a moment. Focus on getting your politicians right to get our president right. It doesn't matter where you're at, because that's the only way we can hope for an NFL season, let alone anything. That's where we are, folks. So, this is where we are. So, with that, I'm going to stop this stream. I made my point. And I'm going to start a new stream, and I'm going to talk about the NFL rules changes so I can get our minds on something else. I made my point here, but I wanted to make that point. I wanted to show you what was going on with these cameras. There's no need to hide. There are more important things, like our lives. But I have to say something before I go here. Jedi Rich put out a video. I'm not going to show it to you because I don't have the rights to do it, and he hasn't texted back and say, yeah, it's okay. They're, part of the brigade that wants to hate you. Oh, Zenny hates this and all this. I don't hate anybody. He put out a video that really succinctly described Las Vegas. And he said, look, in so many words, Las Vegas is a place where everybody just wants to make money. They don't want you talking against them or saying anything that's going to interrupt their ability to make money. They don't want you to show or anything to do anything that interrupts their flow. Everybody is about their thing. And he's right. I've seen that over the years, over the 10 years I've covered CES. He's absolutely right. That when it's toned down is endearing. But when it's at this level, you got to have a time when you know to shut it off, and say, you know what? We got something more important than our parochial little interests. And that's our lives in the world and the American standard of living. I cannot emphasize that enough, because no one's going to be able to sell season tickets, all right, under these circumstances. I'm sorry. It's just not happening. Okay. All right. I'll be back, folks. See you.